Okay, welcome everybody to what is going to be considered the first ever, no, the second ever Demise's Snapshot for speedrunning technology. Um, Today is a momentous day, or well, yesterday for a certain someone. My good friend Man Man. Hello, Man Man.
Hi.
He actually broke the world record for speedrunning twice, which means that it's time for me to update this snapshot. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, last time, 2 years ago, October 17th, 2016, I posted a single video that's basically described everything I knew at the current time, all my understandings of the speedrun community and the meta, and I put it in a video to snapshot and archive for the future, and that was at a very very different time. Um, at that time, they had 40 minute wins were considered fast. Now they're not considered top 50. Um, Today, the world record was taken by Man Man at 22:53. Uh, a little over half of my original world record, which is pretty absurd if you think about it. So, yeah. A lot of things have changed since the last snapshot. Minotaur Berserker is not the cool kid on the block. Formicid Fighter lived and then very slowly died. Uh, a lot of interest started moving towards Deep Dwarf Fighter, and then slowly after that, we ended up kind of having this diversity switch where it became apparent that Deep Dwarf or Minotaur are good, and as long as you're not doing Minotaur Berserker, you're actually fine. In addition to, so at the time of Snapshot 1, it was me, Ultra, and Shard being the three only competitors. At this point in time, me, Ultra, and Shard have mostly retired, and the new runners are Power Mode, Man Man, and Dynast. Um, no, it's Dynast, right?
You,
Which one did
yeah,
you
yeah.
say?
Even I got it right. I
Which
said
one?
I said Dennis in the video. That's what he said in your stream where I
He
was
said I
wrong and
got it
you were
right.
right.
I got it right, right?
Yeah,
So it's
you said
Dynast.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, Dynast is doing Minotaur Fighter of Gozag at this current time. Man Man has been doing Deep Dwarf Fighter of McLeb, and Power Mode has been doing Deep Dwarf Fighter of McLeb. He was the first to get sub 30, which is pretty crazy. I am no longer relevant to the speedrunning community. I am merely a mentor, and I will be releasing a tutorial quite soon, so look out for it. But this will hopefully get us on track to form the foundations of what is going to be the 2020 video where sub 20 has been achieved and is no longer considered fast. So, without further ado, I'm going to let Man Man just take a quick tour through the main technologies. So you've watched the video, you know exactly what I was talking about, right? Like I was basically laying out the whole game. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Um
yeah, exactly.
yeah, so I've provided a short timeline. If you want to talk about the intricacies of how the game has developed since my time, since Snapshot 1, I would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, everyone, here's Man Man.
Okay, so hey, hi everyone. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about how things have evolved. Like Demise said, it started with Minotaur Berserker. Basically, the idea was just it was a pretty strong combo. It was like the default first win. So went with that. But the problem is, I think, is basically your Berserk at the end. You can't really take on end vaults with Berserk. You end up slowed at the end, so you end up running out before you kill everything. And it doesn't have the healing. Like Mokleb is now the big guy. And it actually doesn't have to be Deep Dwarf. That's a big one. That's what got us started on Mokleb because Deep Dwarf needs Mokleb. But actually, Mokleb basically gives you guaranteed vamp. And when I got the 23-minute win was actually Minotaur Fighter. And I think the big advantage there is that they have extra damage from horns and they're better aptitudes. But yeah, so we've been experimenting a lot of different with a lot of different things, and it seems Mokleb is the best. I tried it with Skya as well. That's what I was actually when I went through this Minotaur Fighter. That the only reason I was playing it, this was actually an accident that I set this record. because I was actually experimenting with Skaya, but then I picked up a broadaxe of flaming early on. So I went for Mukleb before I chosen my god. So I went for Mukleb just to be safe. But anyway, so we'll go over basically so what the technology is right now. What we're doing, like Demise said early. So the first early game, you skip to D4. For a while, people were like, Dines clears, and I think power mode also clear D1 to 4. I find that's a waste of time. You can save an extra few seconds there, and usually your character is strong enough that those first few levels don't matter. And even if you die, it's not a big deal because you're only wasting a few seconds. So yeah, dive to D4. That's where you can find Temple first and clear. For me, I do D4 to 10. 4 to 10. So that's just for experience, or I'll do 11 if lair doesn't spawn on D10. So basically, D4 to 8 or D4 to 7 is where Temple spawns, so we need to clear that, and we'll clear it even if we find Temple early for experience. And D8 to 11 is lair, and usually lair if lair spawns on 11, so we'll have to clear that too. And Dynast and Power Mode also cleared D11 and 12. But yeah, so, and then in lair, we clear skip lair 1 and clear layers 2 to 6. The reason being is that, again, it's for experience, but also because slime, the lair branches appear, the two easier ones appear on D2 to 4, and slime appears on 5 to 6. So that's a big change actually in the meta. There was a while where, so in Demise's video, he had set his record in Abyss, and I think back then that might have been viable. I think that was when Abyss was still single level and before they made a lot of buffs to it. But so maybe that was a bit more viable back then. But at this point, it's not really. Slime is much more consistent and faster. So basically, the situation is now slime is, you want that as your default, but if you don't have Arc Corrode or Potions of Resistance, because if you have Potions of Resistance, slime is fast enough, it's worth it to try to fight some acid blobs and stuff without Arc Corrode. A lot of times you'll just die against them, but you have a chance at it, and then use a Potion of Resistance for the World Jelly. And the extra speed is worth it enough that I think it's worth the risk, even though most times you'll die if you don't have Arc Corrode on your armor or ring. But if you don't have either Resistance or Arc Corrode, you need to go to Vaults is the default. That one's a good bit slower because it's harder to find stairs there. And Vaults 5, it has four quadrants, so there's a good chance you just get unlucky and waste a lot of time in Vaults 5, teleporting around and not being able to find the room. So that one tends to be a lot slower. But yeah, so that's if you don't have Arc Corrode. And Abyss, that one is not really done unless you get lucky and you get banished around. You want to get banished. If you're going to get banished, you want to do that in one of your lair branches. So, and if you're usually strong enough then that if you get banished to like Abyss 3, and only it has to be specifically from the spell, because the weapons only put you on Abyss 1, but the spell usually puts you on Abyss, can put you as deep anywhere from Abyss 2 to 5. So if you get lucky, you might even get right next to the room vault. So yeah, so that's pretty much the situation.
So wait, sorry. Oh, man, you're echoing on me. In terms of branch orders and strategies, do you have any like idea? Because at the time that we were doing that I was doing speedrunning, it was pretty much Swamp Snake was the two. Swamp. I think it was Swamp Snake, not Swamp Spider. So what do you think about that now?
That's hard to say. I would definitely say Swamp is better than Shoals. I've had some pretty good runs with Shoals. It doesn't affect it as much as I think we thought at first, but yeah, Shoals is definitely a lot harder. Swamp often I'll do second though, because unless I have a flaming axe, for obvious reasons, or a really high damage axe like broadaxe of electrocution is good enough. But yeah, and in terms of I would have said snake would be ideal as well. I'd agree with that. But uh, if you have really good defenses, like great shield, especially, spider can actually be pretty good. The key thing is you need to have some way to block orbs of destruction, and most importantly, the tarantellas that confuse you. That can really slow you down. But if you have great shield, they don't tend to hit you very often, and spider can be easier in that case.
So you mentioned shields. Are you saying that the debate between two-handed and one-handed is over?
That's actually not necessarily. I'll say the best runs have all been shields runs, so I wouldn't say it's over. I tried some. I've had some pretty good ones that have died with battle axes, because battle axes, it depends. If you're going for a world record, you probably want a shield, but uh, if you're just trying to like get first win of the tournament or something, or just want to get like sub 30, you can you might be better off just if you want to get that particular run to be fast, you might be better off using a battle axe, especially if you pick up vamp. And I found them pretty good because they do more damage, so it kind of speeds you up a bit.
So you're saying that you're going to get sub 30 in your first run of the tournament?
I wish. Probably, I did one in about 40 minutes
Okay.
earlier, a practice one that was playing that was doing a full clear. I did vaults because it's a lot safer.
Oh crap!
That's
Isn't
the
the
thing.
tournament in like 2 days?
Uh, 3 days, yeah,
Holy crap! I
and
didn't
or
think
two
I.
days for you, yeah,
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I just that's beside the point. Sorry, this is a
yeah.
snapshot. I should not be including this in the timeline. All right, cool. So once
Okay.
we're at there, so once we've done the three vaults, sorry, three runes in lair, it's just dive, 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 right?
Yes, actually, yeah. I should say even in layers. So all the clearing that I mentioned, that's all the clearing you do. So after you clear layer two, last thing I said. So you cleared the 4 to 10, maybe 12 if you want extra XP. And I actually did that in the world record run. I wasn't intending to, but I think
Hmm.
I got layer on D11 and accidentally dove to D12 and found a shop. So I wanted to check if there was anything good. But anyway, so normally it's D uh, 4 to 10, maybe 4 to 12, and layers 2 to 6, and after that it's just dive everything. Dive the layer branches. Usually you want to do swamp. You want to do swamp first if you get it and you have a high damage axe or an axe of flaming, and you might want to get pick up our poison there whether you have it or not, because you can get the swamp dragon scales if you don't have it. And if not, if you don't have the damage and you have our poison, you go to either swamp snake or spider first. And yeah, dive everything, dive depths, uh, dive Zot, and also something to do to help with the diving and finding runes for magic mapping. Always use it for branch endings. That's a key thing that
Yeah.
saves you, because yeah, because
So
that makes that.
in video one, in snapshot one, uh, all magic mapping had to be saved for Zot to make the dive as fast as possible. But it seems that you've kind of taken that to the next level and just used it for every single five ending, including D15 apparently, which I didn't think
Yeah.
was uh,
Uh, if I have
conventional.
extra,
Okay.
if I have extra, I'll use it on a D15. Normally, I don't though, because it's I think with D15 is that you're so overpowered by that point. Because remember, we've gotten 3 runes because we've done slime as well
Yeah.
in our branch order before we're entering D15. So we're very overpowered. So it takes very little time to kill enemies. So that's
So
an optional one if you have extra, if you have a ton of magic.
what level would you say that you have your what do you call it? Your character at in your third rune, and then by Zot? Because I know that the
Uh,
wins have gone really low in Excel nowadays.
so I can say that my recent one, yeah, they're much lower. Like this was extremely low turn count. So I remember your world record. I'll actually pull that up off on my screen here.
Hmm.
It was Demise. It was on your main account, right,
I have no
Demise? So
idea. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was during the tournament. So I think it was on Demise, and I'm looking for it now. Do 40. It was 41 minutes. So uh, so anyway, I think your turn count was actually like pretty, like really high by today's standards.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like the
yeah,
technology
here it
has
is.
evolved. a lot.
Turn count was 36,400. Mine was, this is a Minotaur, so it's actually a somewhat fair comparison. 24, 24,600.
So about
12,000
12,000
turns.
turns. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
50% more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm skipping so much. And deep throws are even faster, under 20k turns. It's pretty typical for a record. And I was
Under
level
20k turns. Okay.
21 when I finished, whereas you were level, your 41-minute run was level, doesn't say here.
Should be
Well,
24, right?
23.
23. Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah, an extra 2 levels.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's like the majority of the run covered, but right now, and then after that, we have to talk about Zot 5, where the strategy has changed significantly. So in Snapshot 1, the strategy for Zot 5 was to take it slow and calm. By the time we had finished by the time I'd finished that video, I'd actually updated the strategy so that instead of clearing the outer lungs and then doing the classic strat but very fast, I would literally just run into a rune vault, run into the orb chamber, and kill everything as quick as I could to get the world record afterwards. However, in Man and Power Mode's new experiences, and in Dynas, but he's got a different strat, the new strategy is actually to teleport and try to instantly get on top of or near the orb as quick as possible. Correct?
Yeah. Right, that's correct. So actually, I want to say a few things. So first thing is that yes, that's what I used in the first time when I got like 26 minutes. But actually, this run, I actually didn't do that because basically, what I knew the run was really fast. I checked my time when I entered Zod, and I was under 20 minutes. So I knew this was going to be, yeah, exactly. So I knew this could be sub 25. So I didn't want to screw it up. So I took it safe, and it actually went quite quickly just going into Zod the normal way because you don't need. A big advantage of that is that you don't need the luck. So you don't need to, even if you teleport in, you can re-teleport a few times. Even if you teleport into a good position in the orb chamber, you still need to teleport out.
Yeah.
So that's really risky. Or you need to run out into unexplored territory, one or the other. Both are really risky. So in this case, so it's not clear to me that that's actually the best strategy. But something that is definitely what you need to do, whether you teleport or not, is once you get past the orb guardians at the beginning of the lungs and go into one of the lungs of the orb chamber. What you need to do, you need to summon a ton of greater demons. So like maybe like 3 or 4, and quaff haste, might, resistance if you need it, and agi to as soon as you see your first orb of fire. And if you see mobs or rats, you need to read fair, get them away from orb guardians, because if orb guardians go berserk, you'll probably get it annihilated.
Yeah.
And maybe some summoning to distract things. If you get, like in the video I posted with my commentary, I use summoning to distract things. Maybe fog for Christo. So like there are a bunch of different scrolls you need. That's really important, because especially if you use a teleport strategy, that's very likely for you to get surrounded by a bunch of orb guardians, moth rats, and such.
Yeah. Okay. And the orb run, I assume, is pretty much standard, just GDO and a bunch of running away, or killing, depending on speed. But
yeah, that's standard. And I never mentioned branch endings too. Something that I should mention. The same thing with branch endings. Do demon spam. So, if you're Minotaur if you're worshipping Mokleb, I mean, if you're Minotaur, spam Lesser Servant, because you probably don't have
spam Lesser Servant. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, like fill the screen. That's pretty much what I did. I'd spam, maybe not fill the screen, but I'd summon 5 to 10 demons.
Wow.
Branch endings.
And do you need to buff for that, or just is 5 to 10 enough?
It depends on how I'm feeling. Usually, you want at least one of might or haste. You usually want to save. So it depends on how dangerous the situation. Some of the snake elves require. Definitely use agi, because those are cheap and not super important. And one of might or haste, or maybe both if it's really dangerous, like some snake end bells.
Okay, cool. That's very interesting.
For the royal jelly, normally what I do is I'll try to net net him. I still do that in every game. So you need your arc road and or quaff resistance and haste, bite, agility. You need definitely need the buff up for that fight, and try to catch him in the net because he tries to hide behind his goons.
Yeah.
Once he spawns them, and I've been usually reading immolation to kill him quickly, but the thing with immolation legs out the game, the animation really legs the game out. So, and in the game that I just did, I actually just Minotaur had enough damage. My Minotaur had enough damage, I think, because of the horns and a good axe, that I could just kill him without the immolation. So maybe that's a little bit faster. It might save you a few seconds. But if you're not sure you can beat him, immolation's a good way to guarantee it.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
So immolation, yeah, immolation hasn't really. I never really used immolation, so that's a very interesting strategy.
yeah.
When I first
I
saw
also
your
use it.
thing, it was crazy. Like,
Yeah, I also used it to clear. If you do orc is usually probably too slow now for a set a world record with orc unless you really save a lot of time elsewhere.
well, I
But
mean, your one did orc, like
yeah,
yours
if you
world
do
record.
right,
So, like, I think, but yeah, like, interestingly enough, when I was watching your 26-minute run, I kept skipping it because it was too slow, and then I realized, wait, this is literally the fastest crawl has ever been, and I'm still skipping it. I guess my attention span's really low. But I was like, why are you doing orc? Tap, 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 tap. Oh, you're done. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, so that's. Do you think that's adequate coverage of the whole technology that we've got right now, or do you think there's anything more you want to talk about? Because I want to just quickly mention some stuff as well.
I think that's it. We could just talk about some experimental things. Other than that, but those are like the main. That seems to be like the technology that was used
Yeah,
for the current run.
yeah. So
Uh,
like in turn, like no, when I was like I'll let you talk about experimentals in a sec. I just want to mention like because this is a snapshot, we need to talk about some current event, quote unquote current events since 2016. So Man was actually, I think, the first one to break sub 30, but he used something called a multi-tab macro, which was a macro that basically said tab equals to up to 12 times tab. So every time you press tab, it's like the game says, oh, I tabbed 12 times. That run has since been vetoed because it was considered cheating uh, by the arbitrary council of speedrunners, apparently. And now multi-turn macros are no longer allowed, meaning anything that would normally take two turns, like I don't know, what would we be talking about, man? Like what are an example of multi-turn
yeah,
macros other than multi-tab? Like
something like a macro that worshipped Mokleb for you because you could like control F Mokleb and then you could press like you could worship Mokleb and turn on your invocation skill. That's an example Ultra gave because that's the same key every time, right? You press down arrow and then like press M and I to turn on invocations, so you could do that. Or another example, if you're speed running a mage, something that lets you wield if you wanted to cast statue form while doing a mage speed run, like something that made you wield a staff, cast that of earth, cast statue form, then unwield a staff. That's three actions because you're unwielding the staff twice as well. But you could use a macro to cast the spell.
but then by that logic, how is the MI, how is that a multi-turn macro? It's not even a macro.
It's not multi turn. Uh, it's multiple actions.
MI, is that multiple turn, multiple action?
Oh,
Because
no, it does MI and worship Mokleb.
oh, so
That
you
was the
could have a
example.
macro that does MI, and then you could have a macro
Yeah,
that worships McLeb, but you can't do both.
yeah,
Oh,
yes, that's right.
all right.
And
Well,
even
I know
then,
what
it's
I'm
kind of
putting my G keys on then. Hey, because I am really bad at spelling McLeb. Apparently, I've tried a couple of times now. Uh,
I do control F Mach MAK.
yeah, I do that as well, but it comes out real wrong. It comes out real wrong all the time. I don't know why. Um, yeah. So on top of that, there's also a couple of other tech things that we found out. So instead of just mashing tab like I was doing, you actually hold tab now, and you turn your keyboard delay down to as low as it'll go for repeat keys. You can do that in the control panel, devices and printers. Right click on your keyboard and hit keyboard settings. That'll get you to that place. So that's changed the way that I've never actually done that until like yesterday, and I noticed that the game is a lot faster. The only difference is you need to be really careful when you hold tab, because if you're getting hit too many times, it's going to start mashing force mores on you, and that's slower than just mashing tab generally. Unless you've found a way to get rid of that. If so, can you tell me?
Yeah, I mean, more equals false gets rid of most of that.
More, like just show underscore more equals false, or?
Yeah, I think that's the one. I can't remember. That's been in my RC file so long I've forgotten.
I swear I have that though. Let me check.
Yeah, so I don't know. You just might need to spam the escape key.
Nah, force more. Wait, so can you hold tab and spam the escape key at the same time?
I think so. Usually I'm just spamming O and tab, though, pretty much alternating. And then I'll hold tab when I start getting into a big fight.
Yeah, so I actually started, like, this is an experimental thing then, I guess. I was just holding tab, like, almost every fight. And I was getting some pretty decent times. Like, as in my top speed, but I haven't been really playing much because RSI. So you've talked a little bit about RSI yourself. How's that been? Like, you've gotten some wrist problems now?
Yeah, it's been fine. Now the only problems I have for like strength training, but like I have some problems with the elbow, but that's not related to the RSI that I had in my wrist. I took a week off, and it's feeling better now.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, because at our top speeds, like I was having some significant issues, especially when playing in the tournament for so long, while speedrunning on top of that with multiple accounts. I was basically I basically ruined my wrist, and I couldn't use it for a while.
Wow.
So like, yeah, it was quite painful to play. You might actually find some old ass footage of it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Yeah, the holding tab I think is easier on your wrist, honestly, because you don't have to move your finger as much.
Yeah, it's really that like mashing motion that really messes you up after a while. Yeah. So
here's another trick, a technique that speeds things up, like related to the like holding. Like setting your keyboard setting low, which is something that I did. Was Demise, his first speed run, his first run, by the way, his first win was 30 minutes and 3 seconds.
Wow.
Just FYI, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his first speed run was that, and what he had in his RC file, he only had two things. I can't remember one of them. One was maybe like more, like the force more thing I just talked about, and the other one was he had show animations equals false. So basically, you don't show animations for spells. I'll get the exact option. It's something about showing
use underscore animations.
No, I don't think that's it. I'll open up my RC file, get the exact.
Oh, because my one has use animations. I think my RC file's fucked. Because I'm pretty sure I just put like random shit that I hear into my RC file. I'm like, oh, maybe it works. Like I've never been a very technical player. I've never been very optimal with that regard. So I'm just like, like now that I look at it more closely, I think I have six show more equals false scattered throughout my RC file. Is it use animation or is it show? Is it show animations?
It is. Yeah, it is use animations.
Okay,
use animations plural. Use underscore animations. Show more equals false, I think, was the other option he had there. So that show underscore more equals false. Most people already know that. That's a pretty standard one to have.
I've never had that. Well,
Demise doesn't use this, but explore delay and travel delay equal to -1 to get rid of those. And,
did he not have explore delay on -1? What?
Well, actually, no. That's probably the second option. It must have been that instead of show more equals false.
Okay, I was gonna say like. No, but that's that's because it's defaulted online. That's why. So he didn't need it. So yeah, okay, makes sense.
Right.
Then. Okay, cool. Did you want to talk about any experimental shit that's going
on? Any experimental shit. So yeah, something I was actually getting world record pace, like pretty much the same pace as the record I just set now on Minotaur with Oskaya, but I keep dying with her. You pretty much need Vamp, or else you're way too squishy.
Yeah,
but
I don't think the sky is good.
Damage.
But, okay, like that's an interesting.
I've gotten crazy time because she paralyzes everything on screen, shears damage with everything on screen. so that you get crazy AOE damage from that.
Huh.
Uh,
Why don't you try Rue then?
I did, and he felt like I don't want to dismiss Rue because I dismissed Gozeg. I got a, like I was winning consistently under 40 minutes, and then I got a 50-minute one run with Gozeg and with Minotaur, and I kind of dismissed him. But then Dinas now Dinas can consistently get under 30 minutes with Gozeg, so I don't want to dismiss Rue for the same reason. But
What are
my
the
experience with
gods?
Rue is pretty bad.
Where do I find where
What
the
are the
gods
other
are?
guns?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know any gods in this game. I only know Trog. That's the only one that I used.
I
When I
heard
won
some.
my first game and my only game, I used Trog.
I,
God DCSS. There we go. All right, let's see.
yeah.
Are there any ones that we might be able to use? Hmm. Che was another one that was pretty cool. For a time, you were running
Yeah.
Che. Uh,
Yeah, I was.
Okawara's always been pretty good, but we never really gave him the time of day because he doesn't give you quite enough. Formicid Fighter was using him, but
Yeah,
Formicid Fighter's
I
been
got a
kind
sub
of...
30. I got a sub 30 Formative fighter. So there's definitely potential with
Oh, okay.
Okawaru. You really need Vamp though, because otherwise, if you're playing Okawaru and in the lair branches, if you don't have Vamp, you just end up wasting a lot of time trying to rest to recover, and then you get enemies interrupting your rest, and it just completely ruins the pace of the speed run.
Hmm. Any chance that maybe Lagonu would be a thing?
I but Lugano doesn't help you enough for getting the rune. Actually, here's one. It's
What if
I
we've thought
actually
about
did.
this the wrong way around? What if, in reality, the fastest way to play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup is to just ninja and don't even try to fight? What if, and this is something that is Dinast approved, so technically it's real. It's real lore, guys. Lagonu, Minotaur Abyssal Knight, steal the rune in 30 seconds. Grab the two lair runes by doing corruption. Grab Zot doing corruption. Win the game. Big brain
That's
plays. Three runes.
big.
Abyss. No, actually, no. Abyss, Pan, Pan. That's the one that I wanted. Abyss, Pan, and then another Pan. But one of them's you land on the demonic rune, and then the other one is you land on, like, I don't know, Minoleg. And he gives you 5 good mutations in a row. And then that's the sub 15 that we'll be looking for. That's
That's
mint.
some. Those are some big brain plays there.
Exactly. So that's going to be the future of speedrun technology. So let's just end it off with a look towards the future. So clearly sub 20 is on the horizon now. 2253 is so freaking close to 20 that we might as well just say it's already done. So what do you think the
Yeah,
lower limit is now?
that's a good question. I wonder. I'm not sure if it can get. I mean, I don't want to say anything at this point, honestly.
Say it. No,
Like
no, no, say it.
because
It's because it makes it look more impressive. Because when I first said, nah, sub 30 is not going to be a thing, I said that 2 years ago. Sub 30 is now completely trash.
okay. Well, here's what I'll say. I'll say I think I did an experimental run where I gave myself a ton of crazy artifacts, including Arga, uh, the the armor of the Dragon King, and all the resistances I needed on D1, and did an experimental run, and I won that in 17 minutes. But that was with a bad orb run and Zot. So I think it's going to be hard. I mean, I've been getting faster at tabbing. Like that's actually legitimately what's a big part of the difference here. Because my gear in this world record run was pretty much I had a great axe plus 5-9 broad axe of flame, and I got swamped. But other than that, my gear was pretty mediocre. So it was mostly just being like actually faster at tabbing and exploring and all that, and having good optimal pathing for the and good tactics at the branch endings. But so yeah, like the optimal run with crazy perfect gear on D1, tons of slaying and Arga and all that kind of stuff was about 17 minutes. Probably could have been 15 minutes, a little under 15 minutes with better Zot and orb runs. So I'm gonna say 15 minutes is probably pretty close to the lower limit, and more realistically, somewhere a little shy of 20 minutes will be the best I think we'll see in the next year. But we'll see.
I think 18 minutes is the lower limit, personally. I think that's the
Yeah,
lowest
something
it'll
like
ever go.
that.
Um,
If you could get a D4 Arga like Gore got once, I think you could maybe push it pretty close to 50.
15. I don't know. Like, I just think that there's so many. You still need to take almost 20,000 actions. Like, even at 3 tabs a second, that's still a lot to get through. Um, Honestly,
Yeah.
if offline play ever gets legitimized, that will open up the bottom. That will completely open the bottom up because
Yeah,
we'll just
I
have
did.
lag free like speed running. That would be incredible.
That,
But
that's actually a good thing to bring up. A good point to bring up because the experimental runs where I won in 17 minutes, I could have won in about 15. If my thought and Orborn were better, those were offline. Those were with mode. I just wanted to see how fast it could get. So probably somewhere realistically, it's going to be 20 under 20 will be done soon. 18 minutes is probably close to the lower limit in the next year, and then eventually, if the speedrunning community picks up, I think we'll get closer and closer to 15 minutes, but I doubt we'll ever pass that.
oh, sorry, my mic was muted.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the snapshot. It's a lot longer than it used to be because I guess we've expanded a lot of our technology. So thanks for coming, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. To the future demise. If your channel still exists, mate, I hope you got greater play with 50+%. Do the slow demise run. And for the future audience that are coming back to this 2 years later, fuck you. Please subscribe. I love you. Bye.
Bye.